love spring. It's my favorite season. Hey, welcome to or welcome back to Auntie's Cakery. I'm Tracy, aka Auntie. I had a customer ask me to recreate one of the cakes I made a few years ago. This cute little woodland cake, complete with a little fox and a little deer. The fox and the deer, I actually made a separate video, so if you want to see how I sculpted those, check out the videos. I'll have the links down below. Also, if you have any questions for me, I have a link where you can ask me your questions and I will answer you personally. All right, let's get this cake going. I'm starting with an 8-inch round red velvet cake, and this is a buttercream border. On the inside, I'm putting some cream cheese buttercream. And I'll stack it up. Usually I like to have 4 layers of cake and 3 layers of filling. Next, I'll put a crumb coat on to hold those red cake crumbs to the cake. Chill it for about 20 minutes. And then I'll add a thicker layer of buttercream as a second coat. This little edger tool I use for the top smooths it out quick. I have a video on how I made that. You can check it out. I also did a 6-inch round chocolate cake. Again, 4 layers of cake, 3 layers of filling. Now with some water and corn syrup mix, I'll put a little layer on the cake. First, I'll put a small circle of white fondant on the top. And then I'll cover the entire cake with a brown fondant. Why do I cover the white, you say? Well, I'm going to be cutting that out. So with an X-Acto knife, I just cut around the edge. The brown will be the bark, the center will be the wood. In this little dish, I have some brown food color mixed with some water. With my pastry brush, I will paint texture onto the wood. And it looks a little green right now, but it'll dry a little more brown. Then with my pretty pink fondant tool, I'm going to do some texture in the bark. This will be a little knot, and then I'll just draw lines around it. After I've got all that texture in, I'm going to take a little cocoa. I'm using the cocoa powder to darken the knots just a little bit. It adds a little depth, and it does not cost as much as petal dust. Now I could leave it like this, but I'm going to take it one step further and use a food marker and color in those textured lines. In this little dish, I have some yellow food color and some green food color. A little teeny green with a yellow to make a light green. And I'm going to paint grass onto the top tier, which I've covered in white fondant. Again, to add a little visual depth, I'm going to add a dark green grass on top of the light green. I'll also use these colors to splash some grass on the board. With some royal icing, I'm going to stick that tree trunk right there on the cake board. And I'm using straws as support to hold up the top tier. In this piping bag, I got some dark green and light green American buttercream mixed. And with it, I'm going to pipe a few little plants. Again, for added depth and texture. It's all about the detail, right? Put a few little vines on the bottom tier as well. Then, using the same buttercream, just a different tip, I'm using the grass tip, I'll add some patches of grass here and there. After that, I'll stick my cute little fox there. I do have a separate video if you would like to watch how I created that little fox. And some mushrooms. And I'll show you how I make those with modeling chocolate. Just get some modeling chocolate of your favorite colors. I'm using red and yellow and white for the stem. Make kind of a flat teardrop shape for the stems. And for the tops of the mushrooms, I'll roll a ball and then shape it like a little bowl. And of course, add cute little polka dots. I'll attach them using clear piping gel. The yellow mushrooms I'm going to tint gold with some gold luster dust. So I'll just take some lemon extract, mix that gold up, and paint it on. Then I'll attach some polka dots to the gold mushrooms too. Again, I'm using piping gel to glue the stems to the tops. I've made them in all shapes and sizes. Stick my little deer on there and surround him by a couple mushrooms. Again, I do have a separate video on how I sculpted that little deer. And I'm going to put some pine cones in. To make pine cones, I took a bamboo skewer. In this bag, I have some light brown buttercream on this side and some dark brown on that side. And then onto the stick, I'll pipe as if I'm piping a rose. Little petals over and over again. And you can do as few or as many as you like. And there's my bunch of pine cones. I find that it's easier to insert them with scissors because my fingers don't get in the way. Now for some flowers. I have this cool little plunger cutter and mat that shapes the little flowers for me, so it makes it easy. And I'll just place those randomly all over the cake. And one on the little deer's ear. So cute! I'll finish it off by adding some grass and flowers right on the top.
Thank you so much for watching. I thought this cake turned out so cute and so springy. As always, I invite you to subscribe